Before I get started with the story, let me give a shout out to Craig J for sending it to me. Now, in case y'all don't know who this person is, his name is Nick Fuentes, and this guy is a staunch white nationalist. And he talks about just about anything he can. He's been to so many, Trump-like events and all types. I don't have to go into the whole diatribe and everything like that. But he revealed something on some kind of a podcast recently that for some reason does not even shock or surprise me. Because many people who are like him would fall into this same category, but they got a mouthpiece for everything. But what Nick Fuentes revealed is that he said that he has never had a girlfriend. That doesn't shock or surprise me that he hasn't had one. Because like I said, a lot of people with those type of views probably never have had one. Remember Ben Shapiro? I'm not saying he never had one because he's married, but remember when that whole song about when WAP came out and he made the thing about him, what was it, his wife not squirting or something like that? Or it had something to do with the orgasm. I know that. And people was like, that doesn't shock anybody, Ben Shapiro. I think the shocking thing was finding out that he was married. But let me just go ahead and read this article because I want to see what they're talking about. In a recent podcast appearance, white nationalist Nick Fuentes shared his deeply sexist views about women. His opinions were apparently formed without dating one. Nick Fuentes said he's never been in a relationship with a woman. On You Are Here, Fuentes said women shouldn't vote and described the Taliban's treatment of women as ideal. Most people will say that anybody who has all these strong views, and the same can go for the women too, and opposite, that when people have views like this about the opposite sex, well, we use Nick Fuentes as an example, 9 times out of 10, they probably never been in the presence of a woman in the sense of how can I put it? In an intimate way. Let's just put it like that. The Taliban is notoriously restrictive of women's rights. Women under Taliban rule in Afghanistan can't work or attend school. Under its previous rule, women were forced into marriages and beaten for appearing in public without a male relative or for wearing something other than a burqa. Fuentes also described a nagging wife as his worst nightmare. Co-host Sydney Watson didn't take too kindly to Fuentes' views. She began pressing him on his admiration of right-wing authoritarians, as he hasn't lived anywhere but the United States. You can only do so much reading before practical experience actually should take some precedence, Watson said. She then pivoted to Fuentes' statement about women. Have you ever been in a relationship with a woman? She said. No, Fuentes replied. So how are you telling other people how to behave towards women when you yourself have not had a physical interaction with them in a romantic capacity? Watson fired back. Or in fact, in any capacity where you uphold them in a way that treats them with respect. I have to question what kind of person who had no experience with women is in a position to basically promote these ideas, she said. Well, I'm having an experience with a woman right now, Fuentes reported. He went on to say that he's talked to and known enough women to know what's going on. Talk to basically mean just fucking. Probably, most likely, that's what it is. He's never been in a relationship where he's had a woman call him her boyfriend and he has called her his girlfriend. Like, there has not been like any labels, is what he's claiming. Further, based on things men who are successful with the opposite sex have told him, he thinks it takes a few tricks to pick up women. Presumably, he hasn't used them himself. Nevertheless, thus he concludes, they're not fully rational. I do not believe that, like men, they possess a full rationality. A clip of the exchange posted by Hannah Gaze, a senior researcher with the Southern Poverty Law Center, has more than 600,000 views on Twitter. In the comments, Gaze added, also, to be clear, not dating is okay. People weren't particularly surprised that the white nationalist and sexist young man, who some claim lived with his parents until recently and may still, hasn't had a girlfriend. Many were amused or even embarrassed for him. You can actually see his soul trying to embarrassment escape from his body, tweeted at Anna Merlin. Someone else said, this is brutal, added at Craigopedia. Let me see. I'm just scrolling through. Several suggested that they would never have admitted it. One Twitter user posted a screenshot of a tweet that says, "Waterboarding couldn't have gotten this out of me." Some pointed out that conservatives and far-right figures have complained that their dating lives suffer because of their views. Incel or involuntary celibate culture is notoriously right-wing. Dude, you went full Tim Pool at the age of 23, tweeted at the Time Zone. You never go full Tim Pool at the age of 23. Because I was wondering how old he was, but he looks older than 23. Poole once blamed feminism for him being single. The clip of Fuentes admitting he never had a girlfriend made his way to the cringe subreddit. The comments there were brutal. "My guy is 23. Who listens to whatever he has to say and why?" As for Fuentes, he's endeavored to prove his indifference to being perpetually single by posting a doctored video of him tuning out everything Watson says. He was very bold to go in there and admit that he has never had a girlfriend. Now they mentioned, like, right here that says that he's 23, so he's still relatively young. Because I didn't know how old he was. I thought he was like closer to 30. Kind of looks it, but yeah, he was like I said, he was very bold to admit that. And when you see the things that he says, it's almost like he's trying to make himself a repellent, as if he's trying not to be with a woman or anything like that. Because many people are going to start, and y'all probably are thinking the same thing in the comment section. I feel like, do I even have to say it? Yeah, people are going to start questioning him, and y'all know what I mean when I say question. So don't be surprised or shocked if that comes out, quote unquote, in the future. But I think it's just very interesting because there's a lot more people out there who are like him, but they're not that bold to actually come out and actually say that in the tone, in the capacity in which he said it. But I guess he'll just be left alone with his views and everything. But it says that he talked to women. Now, like I said earlier, that could be one thing, meaning that they're messing around, or talk to as in the same capacity as he was talking to the female host of the show, meaning they just talked and had conversation. It just never went to an intimate place, which I'm starting to think might be the latter. Like I said, Ben Shapiro said that when he said he had never heard of squirting or making his wife squirt or whatever like that, and people clowned him. He was bold to say that. But now basically it's like people gonna look at Ben and say, "Ben, you're not handling business in the bedroom. If your wife happens to step out on you, that'll be why, because you don't know how to make your wife orgasm." And that doesn't surprise me. Have you looked at Ben Shapiro and heard how he talks? Oh, I couldn't even imagine the sounds that his wife has to hear when they're having sex. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if she would be immediately turned off, but it is what it is. I ain't got to hear it. It's not like I got to be a fly on the wall. It is what it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.